All right, so we just went live right now, so we'll wait for another 5 minutes and let people come in.
Sounds good.
So, hello everyone. So we're gonna wait for another 3 minutes before we officially start our webinar sessions. Okay. Okay, another 1 minute. All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our sessions with Shell. So my name is Muhammad Rafiq. So I'm from Seeds Job Fair, and we are going to have another webinar sessions with Shell. The topic is going to be Shell Malaysia Upstream Deepwater. So the Shell is an integrated energy company that aims to meet the world's growing demand for energy in ways that are economically, environmentally, and socially responsible. So that is Shell in a nutshell. And so we have representatives from Shell, Mr. Alan Chan. Um, we, we can't hear you.
Hi, guys.
So, Mr. Alan Chan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So maybe before I quickly introduce myself, I think I'd like to share a really quick safety moment with everyone. So I think everyone has been on the call for quite a bit. Just take note of your immediate surroundings. Make sure that you're in a safe location, taking the call, know where the exit areas are. And if your neck is feeling a bit stiff, you can do a little bit of yoga. Get ready. Yeah. So my name is Alan Chan. I'm a Sarawak boy. I'm born from Kuching, Malaysia. 10 years in Shell, starting my 11th year already, and I'm currently working as Gumusut Kakap Phase 2 project manager. So more about that in a bit. Yeah.
Okay. And we have another representative from Shell, Ms. Anis Basri. Would you like to introduce yourself too?
Sure. Thanks, Rafiq. Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Anis Basri. I'm the graduate recruiter for Shell Malaysia. Currently now based in Menara Shell in Brickfields, Kuala Lumpur. So if there's any question later, I'll be supporting Ellen to answer any queries, especially regarding the recruitment process.
Right. Thanks.
Thank
you. So everyone, so before we start our presentation from Mr. Alan Chan, so if you go down to the screen, there will be a Q&A button. So if you have any question throughout the presentation, you can just put your question there and we will go right to it after the presentation. Okay. And you can also use a chat box if you have anything to say. But if you have, I would prefer you put your question in the Q&A box here. So Mr. Allen, you can start your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rafiq. For those of you who's dialed in yesterday for the Shell Downstream webinar, you may find the first part of this a bit similar, but so just bear with me. I'll take us through the introductory slides at a moderately faster pace. So a career with Shell Malaysia. So who are we as Shell? So as Rafiq mentioned earlier, so Shell is basically a innovation-driven energy company, and Shell aims to meet the energy needs of the world in a economically, socially, and environmentally viable manner for now and also in the distant future. So maybe this one I'll spend a little bit time on what the energy industry is about. So on this slide, you'll see that it starts from the left-hand side, from exploration, finding the hydrocarbon resources, to developing and extracting those hydrocarbon resources, to manufacturing it, transporting it, and creating useful end products for the society. So you see this is the entire end-to-end supply chain, if you like, from finding hydrocarbons to filling it at the nearest petrol gas station. So zooming into Shell Malaysia, it is a very, very vibrant business in Shell Malaysia. You will see all the fantastic stuffs on this slide, being the #1 preferred brand in downstream. And we contribute significantly to the national oil production. You'll see 200,000 barrels of production of oil per day and 2 billion standard cubic feet of gas a day. We have quite a vibrant business, and I'll show you in the coming slides. Shell is all about the people. You will see that we go further to also be part of social responsibility as well in the sustainability grants, road safety awareness, lots of great stuff. And I think underpinning all of this great initiatives is Shell Malaysia's intent to power Malaysia's future with cleaner, innovative, and competitive energy solutions. So Shell Malaysia has a very long legacy in the country, and it's well over 125 years. We started with the very first depot in 1891, and actually the first oil in the country of Malaysia is actually in my current hometown of Miri, where we found oil onshore at Canada Hill. Not in Canada, it's in Miri, folks. And we have refineries, and since then we've gone from strength to strength, going offshore, going to deep water, downstream business, gas to liquid business, and you will see that on this particular slide. So let me quickly take you through the different businesses that we have in Malaysia. So Malaysia is a very unique country for Shell because there are so many amazing businesses in the country, starting from upstream business, integrated gas, downstream, projects and technology. And for today, I will take you through the upstream and P&T business a little bit more. In terms of location, we span both across the peninsula and East Malaysia. So starting from Semenanjung, we have, of course, the Menara Shell building, where Anis and myself are dialing in currently. We also have a Shell Business Operations Center in Cyberjaya, and also a Loops Oil Blending Plant in PD. Over in East Malaysia, in Sarawak, we have the SMDS, the Shell Middle Distillate Synthesis Plant in Bintulu. We have our Miri Lutong office, and in Sabah, we have the Plaza Shell office in KK. And the different colored squares just means the different businesses that's being operated in the different Malaysia locations. So what is the upstream business? So a little bit about myself. I am a Deepwater project manager, and we are a project delivery engine under the P&T banner, delivering for upstream. So the upstream business focuses on the identification, exploration, production of the natural gas and oil products. So it entails, of course, exploration, trying to find the hydrocarbons, either onshore or offshore or even deep water. And also we have three core businesses under upstream, namely the conventional oil and gas, which we call it the cash engine. And then we have the deep water business, which is a growth priority. And then we have Shells for future opportunity. But for Malaysia context, it's more on the conventional oil and gas and the deep water business. So in the picture, you see on this slide is a E11 complex. So this is a offshore fixed leg jacket in Sarawak waters. It's called E11 complex. Not sure whether anybody wants to take a guess, but in your heart, you can take a guess how deep you think the waters on this picture is. Okay, so it's about 60, 70 meters. So when I talk about deep water, this is what I mean, right? So that previous picture was shallow water jacket. So when we say the deep water business, in this slide, you will see we're really pushing the innovation and the technology frontier. And all these that you see on the screen are actually Shell Deepwater projects. So on the left, you see the depth in meters. So we started as early as Cognac, right? 1978. And coincidentally, this year, Shell Deepwater celebrates 40 years of deepwater excellence for the group. And you see Cognac, we installed it in 1978. And from there, we had the Bullwinkle in 1988. And from there, we've gone to deeper depths, different facilities. The different cute logos, if you like, denotes the different types of facilities, which I'll share a little bit later on. But you will see that, you know, the deepest that we have at the moment is almost 2,800 meters in water depths, and that's the Stones project in 2016. And looking ahead in 2019, we have an exciting project coming up in Appomattox, right? So these are the major upstream projects in the group. So if I start from the Americas, you see a Quest project, a carbon capture and storage project. You have Perdido, which is a deepwater spar. Down in Brazil, you see a BC10 project. Going back up to where you call home in Europe, you see we have some Brent decommissioning. In the Middle East, we have the Qatar gas and the Pearl gas to liquids facilities. So if I round off the northern hemisphere, you have Sakhalin as well in Russia. Closer to home, you see that we have Shell Eastern Petrochemicals Complex in Singapore. We have, of course, Gumusut Kakap in Sabah, and also we have FLNG, the Prelude project down in Australia. So yeah, quite a very global footprint, all very, very exciting and innovative projects. So the business that I'm in, which is the deepwater business, these are pictures, some of it's from me, some of it I've extracted from online. So if I take you through them from left to right, I'm proud to share that we have two of the biggest deepwater assets in Malaysia, namely Gumusut FPS, which stands for the Floating Production System, and the Malikai Tension Leg Platform, TLP. So those are the first two pictures on the left. In the middle, you'll see there's a Perdido Spa. And then on the right, you see the BC10, which is in Brazil, the FPSO. So FPSO stands for the Floating Production, Storage, and Offloading capability. So essentially, it's a floating ship that's producing liquids. And then the bottom one is the Appomattox. So she's coming on stream, due for 2019. So that's also a really, really exciting project in the States. So here's the big question for everybody: why join Shell? So maybe before I answer that, I'll show you another picture of myself, right? So let me talk about my experience first. So this is me. So by the way, I'm not a really good swimmer. So when I was doing this, yeah, I wasn't really sure about this whitewater rafting. So by the way, this is in Padas. They have category 4 rapids when it's raining the previous night. So it was raining very heavily when we were doing this the next day. So it's a category 4 rapids. And so I think to sum it up, my experience so far in Shell has been wow. It has been a very exciting and exhilarating journey. I think my initial years have been quite a stretched learning curve, but I think I enjoy that. I started off 10 and a half years ago as a mechanical static engineer. So shout out to all the mechanical engineering grads that's tuning in. But yeah, so I started off as a mechanical static engineer in Sarawak, designing pressure vessels, and then I went to a fabrication yard, and then I went offshore, and then I started designing projects again, and then I went into the deep water business. So the learning never stops for me so far. So I still feel that fire to continuously improve and upskill myself. So that has been a little bit of my journey so far. But if I summarize on why the value proposition to join Shell, I would say it would be the 3 Ps, the P, P, and P. So the first P would be the people piece. I genuinely believe that Shell takes care of the people. They do it in many ways. When you join, you will learn that Shell invests heavily in learning and development. In the initial years, you'll be equipped with fantastic training programs. I hands down, you will not find a better training program for fresh graduates in the industry. And I think we show it in the work as well when we say we care about people. Safety always comes first, and it's very close to heart because of the project delivery nature that I have, and our frontline operators as well. So that's the first P. The second P is around passion. So I think Shell Malaysia has a diverse enough business that you will be able to shape and find something that resonates with your passions, so long as you have the curiosity to pursue it. So Shell's the right place for you to chase after your passions. And the last P I would say would be the purpose piece. I would say if you're looking for a career, a long-term career, Shell is the place. It's not a place just to get a job and just get on with it. It's really a place where you can build a career, you can find a purpose, you can learn a wealth of knowledge from different people, and yeah, so that would be my three P's. I'll leave the questions a bit of time for the questions later on, but yeah, that's my overall experience so far. And like this picture, so far so good, really exciting. So I think to wrap it up, this is my last slide. What we look for, I think we look for people who have the capacity, who are curious, creative, and wanting to engineer solutions, right? Engineer solutions, and people who have a deep drive to chase after achievements. And I think we live in a world where we cannot do it all alone, and therefore that's why the relationship piece, the ability to integrate, is becoming more and more paramount in our industry. Yeah. So yeah, I'll leave the time for Q&As now. That was just my really short sharing. Yeah. Back
Okay,
to you, Razif. Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
So we have one question from Nobhija. So she asks, may I know what is the future direction of Shell?
Wow. Okay. Love the question. What's the future direction of Shell?
Mhm.
Uh, I think maybe I'll answer this question in two parts. One from Shell Malaysia perspective and the other from the group perspective. I think in Shell Malaysia, in our nature of business, which is in the upstream business, we become a cash engine to the group. So we be really, really, really good at finding, producing, processing our conventional oil and gas business, and also have a growth priority in the deepwater business through the two deepwater hubs that we have in Gumusut and Malikai. So that's more on the Shell Malaysia side. But at a group level, I think the purpose of the group is very clear: to be at the forefront of the energy transition. So I think we need to stick to our core business to be good at that, and to generate cash, to innovate and get into the new energies as part of the overall energy transition business. Yeah, that's my personal take on that.
Okay, all right. So again, anyone, if you have any question, you can put your question inside the Q&A box. So right now, I have question from my side. So I've already worked for quite some time. So I realize that as a millennial, so we have two different thought of working life. So we have a
Hmm.
um, work and life balance and work and life integration kind of you know working life. So which kind of ideology that Shell is taking through for this kind of work life?
Great question. So I think for me, in my 10, 11 years journey in Shell,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the answer is actually the answer is actually both. I think the Shell workplace promotes very heavily on work-life balance,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it is up to the individual to sort of set how flexible or how deep you want to be married to your job. So I think Shell provides that flexible platform for you to determine that. So that's what I like about it, the flexibility of it. It's not like you have to clock in at 8:30 and be in the office until 6. It's really personalized, and yeah. So that's one of the great things I love about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can add to Ellen's answer just now. So personally, so I've been in Shell for almost 4 years, graduated 4 years ago. So I'm also just got out from a Shell graduate program. And the part about the work-life balance in Shell is something that I really, really enjoy. And it's really because at the end of the day, what matters the most is really your performance. So like what Ellen said, there's no clock in and clock out. You're free to come in and go at any time you want. So for example, with people who have families, you can come to the office in the morning, and then say for example you have a kids sports day, you can go out and then come back. The only thing that matters is whenever there's an important meetings for you to attend physically, then we need to attend physically. But at the same time, we also the company that really promotes innovation, and innovation also in the ways we're working. So virtual is something that we also really promote. So there is an opportunity to work from home, whereby for example, you can be down in your pajamas and still have a really good working environment where you'll be able to speak to your colleagues or even your stakeholders online. So those are some things that personally I really like about Shell as well. Yeah,
That's
I
great.
think we have a few more questions, right, Rafiq?
Yep.
Yeah.
So another question from Nur Hija. How do you evaluate employee performance?
Okay. All right. So in terms of the employee performance, so for us, we are the company that what we call is pay for performance company. So performance is really at the top. Not forgetting, of course, Shell is also a company that cares for its people. So while performance is at the top, we also do, of course, look at in terms of our DNI aspects of the performance. So when I say about evaluating employee performance, every year we'll have what we call the annual performance evaluation. I think similar to many other companies, each companies will have their own performance ranking or performance rating type. So I won't be able to go in detail, but in terms of what I can say in a summary is we are a company that really focus a lot on the employee performance, and it is something that is done annually. And at the beginning of the year, we will have set up a goal where we have a discussion with line managers, and then after that, in the mid of the year, where we actually go through the goal that we set, just realign again whether can it be stretched more, or if you have delivered, if you have not, what kind of support that you need in order to deliver that performance. And at the end of the day, where we have a year-end conversation with the line manager. But above all, because we really value performance, we also really look into our, like what Ellen mentioned, in terms of our employees' learning and development. So we tie in our performance together with learning and development. So we see if the person is not performing, what do we need to do to support this employee? And those accountabilities are taken not just from the line managers and also support from the HR, but also within the employee themselves. So they understand, we understand about if we can't perform, what is it that we need to do? What are the gaps that we need to close? What are supports that we need? And everyone is really happy to help and provide that support. So, yep.
All right. Great. So another question. If we see in the future trends, especially in the environment trend, we know that energy is scarce and that in the future it will finish. Is the Shell scenario, for example, is working to tackle that issue? What are other things that Shells are doing to solve that issue?
Okay, excellent question. I love that question. Maybe I start by saying that as part of the Shell Group scenarios and the ambition, we are deeply committed in this energy transition journey. I think Shell is always at the forefront in the energy industry to explore ways to have cleaner fuels, right? So when the competition was still stuck on fossil fuels, and Shell already moved forward to say that, hey, natural gas is many times, many folds cleaner as a burning fuel. And I think it's right. Traditional hydrocarbons is a finite resource, But I think in the near term, it will be still part of the energy mix. It's not like snap your fingers tomorrow, everybody drives solar cars. I think it will be part of the energy transition journey. And I think this is why it makes it more rewarding for us to be part of this energy transition journey. And I think Shell, as you know, have a new energies business as well. And I think publicly we have declared that we want to reduce carbon CO2 footprint by half in 2050. So I think that just reflects the commitment of Shell as being a very responsible industry player in the energy transition. Yeah.
Okay, great. So another question. So how does career advancement promotion works?
I think I'll take that question. Okay, so in terms of career advancements or promotion, rest assured that Shell, I think it's also an advantage for us in Malaysia where we have a really big businesses in multiple sectors. So like what Ellen already briefed in the beginning. So we have the upstream business, we have the downstreams, we have the what we call the integrated gas, which is looking at the midstream, mainly the gas to liquid plant sits in Bintulu. We also have the Shell business operations, and we also have what we call the global functions, which includes HR, IT, contracting and procurement, some of the support functions that we have. So with all this aspect, so it allows a lot of cross-business movement, or you say. So for example, today, if I'm decided that, hey, I want to have experience in commercial space, I am allowed to go there. And so it doesn't just work vertically, it can also work horizontally as well. And in terms of the performance, in terms of the promotion specifically, each or any other DNI aspect. So like I mentioned just now, Shell is a really company that really values performance. So you can come in and really perform really well, and there will always be opportunity for you to then advance in your career. And also bearing in mind, like I mentioned just now, it's like it's not necessarily upwards, it can also be horizontally to expand and make yourself a more holistic person working in oil and gas, having multiple exposure to multiple businesses in Shell. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we don't have any new question from the attendees. Again, if you have any question, you can put your question in the Q&A box here. Yeah. Well, I have another question too, actually.
Go ahead, Rafiq.
I'm interested in the transformation from, how Shell's gonna transform, trying to capture new industry, because we know that Shell is their main business is doing the hydrocarbon energy business. So what are those initiatives that are new that from us millennials can join in to try and capture into a new industry, into a new renewable energy industry or something?
Right. Great question. So I think, so if I'm not mistaken, the way I interpret this question is more around the new energies space, right? What Shell calls the new energy space. This is more on the renewables, cleaner forms of energy sources. So I think Shell as a group, you will find that I think must be 2 years back, we set up a brand new branch and we call it New Energies. So imagine a global energy powerhouse dedicating one huge organization under New Energies. So I think that tells a lot around how committed we are to slowly transition into that. But if I come back to my point around that, things don't happen overnight. So I think from our core business, transitioning to cleaner natural gas burning fuels, to whilst innovating the new energy space, I think millennials have many roles to be part of this journey. And if your passion is around the new energy space, definitely you can either vertically or laterally move into that space. But if you're coming from the angle of environment preservation and whatnot, our day-to-day activities, actually, we have to do so in a very responsible and safe way, and that's how we can contribute every day. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Sure. So, right. So we still don't have any new question from the. Oh yeah, we have new question. So from Nur Hija, may I know how good is Shell enhancing oil recovery? Kim.
This is no, Hija must be a reservoir engineer or a geoscientist. So great question, Nohija. So for the other folks on the line, so I'm gonna blab a bit. Um, so when you talk about oil recovery from a reservoir, be it onshore or offshore, the natural depletion is through its initial pressure, the natural pressure from the ground that pushes the hydrocarbons up to the surface. So that's called natural depletion. So that is the primary depletion method. And normally we get different URs, ultimate recoveries from different fields, depending on the initial pressure in place. So once the natural pressure is depleted, if you like, we get into something called secondary or tertiary, or what Nohija mentioned, enhanced oil recovery. So I think so this is really the secondary and tertiary enhanced oil recovery. So to answer Nohija's question, I think in the secondary recovery via gas or water injection, I think Shell has very strong fundamental knowledge because of the wide experience that we have globally, right? So we've done it in Malaysia, we've done it in many parts of the world, and the beauty of it is that you don't have to learn all of it by doing it in Malaysia, right? You have other counterparts and fellow colleagues globally around the world that's doing it and learning it, and you can learn from that experience, leveraging on that and improve the processes. And the same, I would say, for the tertiary and enhanced oil recovery piece as well, which deals with a little bit more chemicals and surfactants and whatnot. But yeah, so I think the beauty of Shell joining Shell Malaysia is you're not only joining Shell Malaysia, you're joining the Shell group. And the group knowledge, the group lesson learns, the group practices worth replicating, you get to learn that, right? I think the limit is how curious you actually are. Yeah.
Okay, great. So again, anyone, if you have any question, you can put the
Okay.
question in the Q&A.
Anis has a question for me, Rafi.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can't hear the questions.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I was just saying that since no one have any more questions, so I thought let me pose a question to Alan. So Alan, can you name me one thing? What is the one thing that you really like the most about Shell?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I can give my answer later, but I'll let you decide.
I think the one thing,
Yeah, I can just one.
I think it comes back to people, the people piece. So I've done 4-5 projects in my career in Shell, and although you celebrate the project milestones and the achievements, it's actually the joy of achieving it with fellow colleagues and friends, and the friendships that's made along the way. I think the people piece is quite core to me. And I think Shell's a company that enables that, the diversity and the inclusion in the people helps to surface very creative ideas. There will be tense moments where you never agree on everything, but that's the value of having the D&I piece, where you can have a balance, support and challenge. So for me, it's the people piece, and I think Shell is really committed of taking care of the people, and it shows. Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen, for that. So maybe just I would also want to say something about that aspect. So I do share with you as well. I think the best part about being in share is also the people, but to me the biggest aspect is really the DNI in Shell. So when I talk about the DNI here, not so much in the diversity. We do have, of course, a very diverse workforce from multiple races, and it's a global company, so you get to interact with people from all over the world. But more than that, it's also the inclusion part that I also really enjoy in Shell, and that inclusion part is really something that when you come into Shell, so you address everybody just by their first name, and even the chairman or even our CEO, is just a Skype away, and you can just ping them, and it's a really an open door concept in Shell. So even the GMs, the highest level of that department, sits in the same cubicle, in the same area within the team. So it's really, you can just approach them. So I am myself a graduate, so just 3 years plus in the company, just graduated 3 years ago. But even in my first year, I was able to actually go and tap on, so I'm a HR, so I can just tap on the country HR manager for Malaysia, who just sits like across and not even in the room, where I can share my thoughts, my ideas, or any challenges that I have. So it's really that portion of the openness, and also really everyone is really equal in that space. I really enjoy that part of Shell.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, now we got questions from Nuhija.
Oh yeah. So Nurhija, yes, I am a geoscientist. What are the skills required or advantages to have to be seismic interpreter?
It's a little bit specific.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try. So yes, see, I knew you must be a geoscientist, Nohija, to ask a question. I don't think I will want to comment too much on the skills required. I believe you have acquired the necessary skills and the knowledge as part of your formal training, your formal education. But I think going forward, joining the company as a SI, the seismic interpreter, I think to complement the formal training, applying it in the workplace, I think I go back to the fact that it helps to keep a open and an open mind and a humble heart to learn from the other gurus in the team that you will join, and then you will realize formal training and real world experience, there is a bridge that is up to you to build and link what you've learned from the books and apply it into the real world. But I must say, I know many geoscientist friends, really cool people, really knowledgeable. They love their rocks, and sometimes I just look at them and I just smile because they're really passionate about their discipline. So yeah, great stuff.
Okay. I guess the time is almost up actually. So if you guys have any last question, I mean, we can still go with last question, right?
Oh,
But
go for it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do we want to wait or we? Okay. So I guess
Maybe if I can say something. So if there's more questions, so we do have during this European Virtual Career Fair, we do actually also have a breakout session. So we have one also at 5 o'clock later. So if anyone of you have further questions to understand further about Shell, I can join any of the breakout sessions that we will schedule. So just look it up online. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Time is up actually. So thank you for sharing your experience and talk about more about the company. I hope everyone can take advantage of these webinar sessions and try reach out to Shell, to our virtual career platform, and try and request a group breakout session with them. Right? Thank you, everyone.
Rafiq, let's wait from Ellen. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. So thank you for listening in. It's been a privilege talking and sharing with all of you my very limited experience in my short career in Shell. I think I just want to give a shout out and praise to all of you who will be graduating really soon. And I do hope to maybe shake one of your hands in the company. Now you have a picture of me down the rapids, so you can try to hunt me down and probably we can say hi along the corridors. But I think it is a very exciting time in the energy industry where we are really in the thick of things of transitioning um, to renewables, and I think it's a really exciting industry and sector and business to be in. So yeah, look forward to maybe meeting some of you in person one day. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.